Hi guys, and welcome to another review. This one for the Trick-or-Treat-a-thon. So this one took place on Discord, and I don't remember the creator channel that I saw the announcement video on, but the one I saw that it was on directed us to Discord. And we would put the information in, and then we were sorted into teams. If I can find which creator it was, I have an idea, but I'm not positive, so I don't want to confirm which one it was. But the content creator that I did see this on, if I can jog my memory and for sure remember who it was, I'll link their channel in the description box. So for the Trick-or-Treat-a-thon, you were divided into teams. There was like Team Candy. I don't remember all of them, but I was on Team Monster. The best team, I will say. It's a competition, and I do know with today being October 31st, I will not be able to complete another book to submit it for team points. And we were able to pick our prompts, so I printed this out. As you can see, I did not get a bingo, but I did do some reading. There were a lot of prompts to choose from, so I will not go over every prompt in this that you were able to select, because there's over 40, I believe. Let me see. There are 40 exactly prompts. So I will tell you what book I read, if it counted towards... No, that's just all I was able to get. So I'll just tell you what prompt I read. Not every prompt landed on my bingo board that I read, but the majority of them did. We'll leave it at that. So let's start off. Prompt number 1 that I fulfilled was for October. This was to read a book published in October any year. So this could have been 5 years ago in October, this year in October. I went with Pig the Rebel. This is by Blabey. I gave this 5 stars. It's very cute. It's a picture book. I'll insert the cover here. I borrowed this from my mom. It came out this month, so in October of this year. And it was just a very sweet, cute read, less than 50 pages, very fun. Just about a pig that's like, I'm not going to hold to the status quo and do what you say, and I'm going to do what I want. Hence, Pig the Rebel. Moving on. Prompt number 2 that I completed was Movie Night. This is to read a book that has a movie or TV adaptation. So this one, I actually went with Disney's Tim Burton, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I gave this 3 stars. I found this in the children's picture book section at Barnes & Noble. Obviously, this does have a movie adaptation, and the movie came first, so it was adapted into this book. I absolutely love this movie. The book is fine. It's very, very, very much watered down because it is a children's book in this particular instance, but I still enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 3 star because it's a book. Rating wise, I gave it a 3 star. Obviously, the movie is better as the movie came first, and with the book being so watered down to be digestible by more children. Anyway, still cute. Love the pictures from the movies, the drawings of like Sally, Zero. Let's see. You have the Christmas tree and Oogie Boogie. There's just a lot of drawings and some images of the clay figures in here. It was fun. It was a good time. All right. The third prompt I completed was To Be Continued. This is to read the next book in a series. This one I completed a series, and that is Creepy Cat by Valent. gothic, paranormal, full of cats. It's a manga and it's YA. This is not a major commitment because it is only 4 volumes. The end of this particular book does state that this series is over. So you don't have to worry about having over 10 books to commit to with getting into a manga. This is just 4. It's very cute, very sweet. You have vampires, you have witches, and you have ghost cats that can become very strong, so have super strength, that can change size, like get gigantic or very teeny tiny small, that can multiply, all this stuff. It's just really fun and very cute. The next prompt I completed was Boo. Read a book with ghosts or spirits. For this one, I read Cryptid Club by Sarah Andersen. This is a graphic novel. Sarah Andersen also did the Sarah Scribbles, the Adulthood is a Myth series. I want to collect more of Sarah Andersen's work. She has, with the 2 that I have read, is becoming a very fastly becoming a author that will become an auto-buy. Her humor is awesome. At times it seems a little dry, but it is very relatable. And so that's what makes it that much more entertaining with how relatable it is. This is no different. This, you're just following different creatures, cryptids, the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, aliens, ghosts, and things of that nature. I think one of them being like Slender Man. Very enjoyable. Gave this one 5 stars. Yes, 5 stars. Next prompt I completed was Squirrel Cash. Read one of the oldest books on your TBR. I read the oldest manga that I have unread, and that was Berserk and this is by Kentaro Miura. This is not for me. So this is deluxe volume 1. I am going to be unhauling this. This was not for me. There's a couple of parts in here that did depict like sex. One was an orgy fest, and it was pretty graphic. Out of all, less than 10 pages that was depicted. But the rest I just found boring. I was extremely bored. I had to force myself to pick up on it. Several times I wanted to DNF the book. So because of that, and that was before the big orgy fest in the book, because of that, I am going to unhaul it. I didn't DNF it. I forced my way through it. I wish I would have just DNF'd it. I was that bored with it. So this was just not for me. I can definitely see a lot of people liking this. It is very graphic, not only with that sexual scene, but extremely graphic with bloodshed. It is a lot of fighting in this. And normally I like that, but in this particular case, I just found it dull. Just not for me, so I'll be unhauling this so that someone else can enjoy this. So because I am going to unhaul it, almost DNF'd it, I'm going to go ahead and give that one a 0 star. Just not for me. The next book I read, I actually read it on my Kindle, and this fulfilled the prompt of Slumber Party, which is a friend picks a book for you. This one was a group read for another readathon. And because they picked the book, I figure they count as a bookish friend. So that would fulfill the prompt. That one was City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Loved the book. I gave it 5 stars. We're following Cassie. She is in middle school. This is a middle grade book. She has a near-death experience by falling off of a bridge and nearly drowning, but she is saved by her ghost friend named Jacob. And they just have this little bond, and it's a very sweet bond. And she goes with her family. She expects the summer to be going to the beach. Instead, her parents have a different idea to go to Scotland to tell stories about some of the ghost sightings and haunted places in Scotland, and they have no idea that their daughter can actually communicate and see ghosts. So it was entertaining. I know there's 3 books out in this series so far. I don't know if there's going to be more, but this is definitely one. After reading it on my Kindle, I've decided I want my own physical copy. At some point I will be buying the whole set. So I have those earmarked on Amazon so I can buy them in the future. The next prompt I completed was Mystery Candy. Message a team captain or host of the readathon for a book or a prompt, which I did so, and they gave me the following prompt. It's a monster mash. Read a book with some sort of celebration. Now this one's a little twisted when it comes to the celebration, but I chose to go with Deadly Waters. This is the first book in a new series. Please forgive me, I don't remember the name of the series. I will try to list that in the description box. When I put this, I'll try to put this is book 1 in whatever series it is. I have read the Butterfly Garden series by Hutchison, and now this one. I think Dot explores a lot of when you're looking for books and you want stuff where they challenge the patriarchy. Dot is something to look into, although beware, there's a lot of talk of sexual assault and rape in Dot's books, especially this one. A man ends up dead by alligator, and there starts to be a pattern, hence there is a serial killer on the loose, but obviously serial killers have a type of person, whether looks or some other features, that they want to kill. And let's just say it has a tie to sexual assault and rape. This does have 2 POVs. The second POV has a very minor role in it and is from the perspective of the murderer. This also challenges the thought of what would be called a vigilante. Are the murders justified? And just because they're justified, should they even still be taking place? So it does challenge your thinking, but cover to cover in this book, there is a lot of talk. It doesn't go into details or graphic details, but there is a lot of reference and talk about rape and sexual assault. So if that is at all triggering to you, definitely avoid this series, and you may want to avoid Hutchison overall from everything that I've read. There's only one book of hers I haven't read yet, which is A Wounded Name. That's the only one, but everything else has some sort of pretty much sexual violence in it. So definitely beware. Love the writing though. Dot is very, very talented. The next prompt that I completed was Sugar Skull, read a middle grade book. For this particular book, I went with a graphic novel. I'm trying to get through my graphic novels and mangas, and I've dwindled it by about half. So I went with The Babysitter's Club, The Truth About Stacey. This is the second book. The original stories came out, I remember them being really popular in the 90s. I don't remember if they originally came out in the 90s or if they just had like a resurgence. Like, I had posters and a calendar of The Babysitter's Club. I loved the series growing up. I did not read every book, but so the original series was written by Anne M. Martin. Raina Telgemeier redid the series, or kind of adapted it into a graphic novel format. She did a fabulous job. The art is beautiful, and it still conveys the basic message of The Babysitter's Club, which is being friends and working in this small town to take care of all these little kids and to be responsible. As you start to grow older, the more responsibility you get. Great trip down memory lane. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And this makes me want to go back and read the original versions, partly to see if there's been some creative differences. Maybe some certain things have been adapted. I don't know. Only going back and reading the original versions will tell. Will I do that? I don't know. Maybe at some point. Let's move on. The next prompt that I fulfilled is chill in the air. Read a book set in winter. This one I did was it an no, it wasn't an ebook, audiobook. I listened to Beneath the Shadows by Sarah Foster. This takes place, I don't remember exactly where, but definitely not in America. I want to say it was somewhere in the UK. You're starting off with this gal who is married. They have a little baby daughter. And all of a sudden, the daughter shows up on the doorstep alone, minus the father, and no one knows what happened to the dad. And you're following the progression of this story as she tries to figure out what is going on. There's rumors of haunting and ghosts, and so you have to figure out, as well as the character, if these are actual hauntings and spirits that are tormenting her, or if it's sometimes just her mind playing tricks on her and a figment of her imagination. She does get to know people in the area a bit more, and the truth eventually comes to fruition. And I will say it's not what I was expecting, so that's part of why I gave it a 4 stars. This is definitely a book that I would like to have my own copy of, so I can go back and read it in a physical format. But the audiobook, I do believe, was definitely well done. I do recommend this for a little bit of an atmospheric in the winter setting in a small town. Okay, moving on. The next prompt that I completed was Change in the Air. Read a book with fall colors on the cover. Mostly yellow, green, red, orange, or brown. For this, For this particular one, I did an ebook, and I gave this one 3 stars. That is Dark Lines by Jack Harding. This is a collection of short horror stories, and it was okay. There were some that I liked better. The ones that stood out to me was there was one about sleep paralysis, there was one about spiders, and there was one about like a fairground with a Ferris wheel and this little girl. Those are the ones that I remember the most. Oh, no, there was one about a vampire. And that one I think was my favorite because there was a couple things in that short story I was not expecting. That alone would have gotten like a 4 star in that particular collection of short stories. The rest of them would have been about a 3.5 to a 3 star. So on average, with the collection of short stories, it averaged it out to be a 3 star read. I do recommend it if you're trying to get into horror and you want to start with short stories. This is one I would definitely recommend. Again, by Jack Harding. It is called Dark Lines. My favorite was the vampire. Second favorite, I think, would have been the one with the spiders because I do have arachnophobia. And so it did kind of torment me a little bit more compared to the rest of the stories. Definitely like it, and I do recommend. Okay, the next prompt that I completed was Halloween. Read a book set during Halloween or has Halloween in the title. This is set during Halloween, and it does have Halloween in the title, and that is Halloween Party by R.L. Stein. We have a new girl in school. This takes place at Shadyside High. I believe I said that. I hope I said that right. It takes place within the Fear Street universe. This is, I don't know what number in the Fear Street series, but each book in the Fear Street world can be read alone unless you get a particular like trilogy within this world. For example, there's a series about cheerleaders. That one you have to read in order. But ones like this, where it's not like Halloween Party and then Halloween Party 2, this can be a standalone. So there are some that would need to be read in order, like Wrong Number and Wrong Number 2. Read those in order. But this particular one, you can read at any point. This one it's earlier on, and I think it's like number 6 or 7. So it's earlier on in this series. This was originally published in 1990. One thing that I liked about this is it has deaf representation. The main female character, I believe her name was Terry, Terry, she is deaf. However, one thing that is not quite believable is that she can lip read and is about 98 to 100% accuracy with lip reading. That is very unbelievable. It's much lower case than that. I follow a lot of people who are deaf on Instagram, a lot of content creators that are deaf, and I took American Sign Language for 2 years in high school, a semester in college, and it is nowhere near that rate. Unless there is a prodigy with lip reading out there, it's very rare. I think it's closer to around 20 to 30% on average with accuracy with lip reading. I could be wrong. I am not proficient in the deaf community and culture. That's just what I know from my very basic understanding. I liked the deaf representation because I am losing my hearing in my right ear. I'm still within normal range, but I'm at the very bottom of that range. And I feel like it's gotten worse because my mom will holler at me and I have to turn my head and go, what? What? A couple of times. And I'm doing that more and more. Plus, I do have carry a particular gene that if I have a child, my own biological children will have a 25% chance of being born deaf or hard of hearing. And my dad's side of the family, that's just from my mom's side of the family. My dad's side of the family, I think, increases that odd because my grandpa is now hard of hearing, although his is due to old age, but I do have an uncle that is very much hard of hearing and he wears hearing aids. So I do think my odds of having a child, if I ever have the opportunity to have my own child, of having a child that's deaf or hard of hearing are much higher. So I do like seeing the deaf representation in this. I don't find a lot of books with that rep, and it's very nice to have that. So I did like this. As far as the accuracy of that representation goes, please find someone who has read the book, who happens to be deaf, and take that from their perspective to see how accurate it is. Again, my issue was with the accuracy with the lip reading. I think it was very much elevated, but I enjoyed that. So kind of going back to this, you have a new girl at the school. She wants to throw a party on Halloween. There's going to be some tricks that take place. And as the story progresses, you have to find out if it is in fact a trick or if it is not. One other trigger warning for this is you do have teenagers who are alcoholic in this book, and they do happen to be bullies in this story as well. And there is a murder in this. So there's a lot going on for such a short young adult. This is less than 150 pages, I believe. 147 pages. But I enjoyed this. I think I'd be sitting at a 4-star if I were reading this for the first time, but where this was a reread, I did give this a 5-star. The high rating is mostly due to nostalgia. I am very biased with this. R.L. Stein's Fear Street books are what got me into reading and kind of expanding and dipping my toes into various things to see what I like. So I have a very soft spot for the R.L. Stein Fear Street books. The next prompt that I completed was find your familiar. Read a book with familiars or animal companions. For this one, I went with the graphic novel Phoebe and Her Unicorn in Unicorn Theater by Dana Simpson. This is really cute. You're following Phoebe as she is in elementary school. I want to say she's 3rd grade. I could be wrong, but she is very young. The animal companion being her unicorn pal. The first book, the unicorn is entranced by her reflection in a lake. Phoebe saves her from that. She's granted a wish. She wishes to become BFFs or best friends with the unicorn, and they do, and it's just their adventures. In this particular one, it takes place during the summer. She is going to a drama camp. In the past, she has gone to a music camp, but in this one, she's going to a drama theater camp. And it's great. There's also an underlying thread of how sometimes there's a misunderstanding and rivalry between friends and between sisters. The unicorn's name is Marigold, and her sister shows up and they work on talking things through about something that happened in the past. Later on in the book, Marigold and Phoebe have to talk things through and resolve a misunderstanding that happened there. Very fun story, very cute. The artwork is fantastic. Crisp, clean, fun. There's 3 different animal companions. You have a unicorn, you have a dragon, and you have a Loch Ness monster in this particular book. The final prompt that I was able to complete for the Trick-or-Treat Readathon for Team Monster was Double Trouble. Read a book with twins. For this one I read and I gave 4 stars to Girl Serpent Thorn. This one does in fact have twins. The main character, what was her name? Soraya, has a brother. Now Soraya is cursed, so that it could be seen as a blessing and a curse, but basically it is led to believe at the beginning that this is a curse where anyone that touches her skin, Soraya's skin, falls down dead. So she's kind of hidden away. Part of it is by her own doing, how she just kind of shrinks into herself. She does have a brother who is becoming the king. This is her older twin brother, and so you do have twins. Soraya has at the beginning a crush on someone. You do find out it is a girl, so you do have some lesbian representation in this. A little later on, there is another love interest who happens to be female, and that's all I'm going to say about this. And I thought it was very well done. I thought it was sweet. I think part of what I liked about it was a lot of the underlying messages of learning to stand up for yourself, of how something that is once seen as a curse can actually be a blessing, but it can still be a curse for other people. There's a lot of aspects about this that I liked. Anyway, thoroughly enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars. Those are all the books that I read for the Trick-or-Treat-a-thon. Again, I will find the original content creator that I saw the announcement video on. I will link their channel below. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but again, I'd have to double check. And I'll link their channel in the description box. And if it is who I'm thinking, she has an awesome channel, and I highly recommend checking it out. She's real cool. But that's going to be it for this wrap up. Let me know if you participated in the Trick-or-Treat-a-thon, what team you were on. Talk to me in the comment section below. Even something as what your favorite book was of the month, what you're looking forward to reading in the following month, or anything, just anything. So talk to me in the comments section below. Until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.